Hey, this is Michael, and this is Luca and Buddy. And today I want to talk about trusting your intuition and the first intuitive hit that you receive when you are maybe tuning into your animal and trying to communicate with them, or it could be even navigating your world, tuning into a situation and needing intuitive guidance, trusting your intuition. Our intuition serves us in often subtle ways where we might see something in our head or we'll get a feeling of something. Often, for me, it could be very symbolic. Like I could, let's say, be tuning into one of my dogs here and be asking them, what would you like to share or how are you feeling? And I might see a bone, like a symbol of a bone in my head. Well, that could be interpreted in a lot of different ways. Maybe it's my dog wants a bone, or maybe they buried a bone, or maybe it's even like their bones hurt, or they have an ache in their bones, or it could even mean the symbolism of being the backbone of the pack and family. I'm giving this as an example of how many different ways something can be interpreted when you are tuning into your animal. Or again, this could apply to anything in your life. If it's a situation you're facing and you are, setting an intention to use your intuition to tune in, these symbols, these feelings, maybe it's a word, just flashes through your mind, and often we disregard that. We'll disregard, oh, like a bone, why am I seeing a bone? That seems crazy. This happens a lot for me in intuitive animal communication sessions. When I'm tuning in to an animal, I'll often be flooded with different pictures, words, feelings, symbols, and they'll just be like one thing that seems totally random. And I've learned, like, if I, disregard and don't pay attention to those things, they could mean everything to the person that I'm connecting with about their animal. It could be a missing piece in the puzzle in solving a problem or an issue or giving the person an answer in regard to what they're looking for. And so I've learned that I'll share, like, why am I seeing this bone? It could be like, oh my God, I've been really worried about a broken bone in my dog that was, has been healing, and I wasn't sure that it was set correctly. I'm kind of going off on a tangent, applying what I was using as an example of connecting with my own animal, getting a bone, but then also tuning in an animal communication session. Symbolism, feelings, they come through very powerfully. And like I was starting to say, often people disregard those feelings, and then you start spinning in your head about it, like, oh, that doesn't mean anything, that doesn't apply, that doesn't make sense. But when you pause and reflect on these quick intuitive hits that you get, often our first impressions can be very important, very meaningful. Listening to those first impressions you get. And so, if you are again, like, sitting down with one of your animals and you're really wanting to tune into them and you're feeling something totally random that doesn't make sense, allow the space for it. Allow that to come through without disregard, without second guessing it. Just allow it to come through. And what I often like to do is, in a situation like that, is to write it down. Write down whatever is coming to you. If you're practicing animal communication, write down whatever is coming to you. Let the floodgates open. Whatever you're seeing, feeling, hearing, sensing, write it down. Maybe it's something that you want to draw. Even almost like a form of automatic writing, you just allow yourself to start doodling and see where your pen takes you as you are asking the question of your animal, of your intuition. See what comes through, and then you can interpret it later. You can come back to the piece of paper and piece together all that you drew, all that you wrote, all the symbolism that came through. That can be how this works. For me, in my experience at least, it's sort of like threading together all of the different pieces of information. But the more you do this, the more you trust your first impression, honor it, recognize what's coming through, write it down. The more you do, it is like you are respecting your intuition, and it becomes easier to recognize and understand and to interpret whatever's coming through. And that's also in regard to your animal. You know, when you start to really create the space and listen to what they have to share with you intuitively, energetically, and telepathically, and allow yourself to spend a little time, a little reflection on what's coming through. Honor it. That really strengthens your intuitive muscle and your ability to interpret whatever's coming through. This is, as I always say, like a muscle that we are strengthening. And the more you pause and reflect, but more specifically, trust your first impression, your first intuitive hit. What's coming through for you? As I mentioned, this can apply to any area of your life. When you are reviewing food to eat for yourself or for your animal, and you're getting an intuitive hit like, I'm seeing red. You know, I'm seeing red. Why am I seeing red or a stoplight? Well, that red could symbolize stop, wait, stoplight, like pause, don't move forward. Or on the flip side, it could mean like root chakra, red root chakra, grounding, stabilizing, giving you stability in your energy and your body, which would be the opposite of stop. It essentially could mean like go. But red and symbolism in that nature can mean a different thing for everybody. And so you start to build a database of symbolism, of meaning, of understanding of what different things resonate for you, what the definitions are for you when it comes to your intuition. And then this can be with your animals too. Like each one of your animals might have a different way of communicating with you symbolically and energetically. So the more you tune into, one animal might feel very differently than how you tune into another animal. And the more there are differences, the stronger your ability to receive, to interpret, to understand becomes, because you get used to sort of interpreting different intuitive languages of symbolism, in symbolism. So my whole point here is to really honor and recognize your first intuitive impression. Notice when it comes through. Write it down. You can interpret it later. And when you just give the space to bring through whatever's coming to you and then go and reflect on it, you'll be surprised at the treasure trove of information that comes through. But so often people don't give themselves the space and the time and the energy to interpret, to listen, and to pause, not only when it comes to our own intuition in our own life, but also in our animal communication. We're always rushing. We've got to have the answers. We've got to keep moving. We don't give the space and the pause to listen and interpret. So do you ever feel like you get intuitive hits that come through and you disregard them, and then maybe later on you recognize like, oh my gosh, that was so right on. I had a feeling about that. Celebrate that, notice it, honor yourself when those moments come through. And I always love to hear too, if you want to comment wherever you're seeing this video, I love to hear about people's intuitive hits or when they recognize that their intuition was steering them right. And maybe, share how you listened to it or maybe didn't listen to it and then learn later that you should have listened to it. And that is, I guess, our point for the day, huh, guys? What do you think? Is that our point for the day? If you need any assistance or support, you can reach me on all of my platforms. I'm happy to help through an animal communication session or coaching. And until the next time, we will see you in the next video.